Hello and welcome to Wietzer's Woodshop. My name's Ted. We're going to make some things. Alright, welcome back to the shop. After the last couple of videos and helping the neighbors out with the storm, I finally rested up. We're going to do some back to the shop stuff. So I was recapping and looking at some of the old videos, or the other videos that I was doing. And you know, I still got to get that sharpening stuff down. So I dabbled with float glass, and we did a bunch of the grits, and we adhered it to this and all that. But what ends up happening is I end up getting all the tear out. So the paper just doesn't last very long. And then diamond stones are super expensive, and I'm still not convinced that they're worth the money as far as the bang for the buck, longevity wise. I know that you could use them to flatten whetstones and do that kind of stuff. So later on I might get into that investment. But I found a new product, and I was, of course, watching YouTube. And Jonathan Cat Moses had a scary sharp system. And what he's using is this lapping film, basically designed for electrical stuff. But it's a PSA aluminum oxide. So PSA is pressure sensitive adhesive, so it's got a sticky back. So instead of spraying the stuff and getting it all over and making a mess, and I was using this Gorilla adhesive, which is really good. I switched to the general purpose 45 3M product, which got even better. It didn't stick as well, but that made it easier to change the paper, and it also laid flatter. The paper stuck to the glass a lot flatter. So if you do use your adhesive, use the 45 stuff from 3M. It's really good. But we're going to try this, and then I came up with a whole nother idea. And I'm still going to use some float glass, but I'm going to probably use these for my brand new setups. So I'll use the, to get the proper bevel set, and then get a micro bevel set on my planes or my chisels. And then, but I came up with an idea that we're going to use in our house with solid surface countertopping. So I ended up getting some scrap from a local carpenter, and he swears by this stuff. And so I'm gonna be like BASF. I'm not gonna invent sharpening. I'm just gonna make it better. All right, so this is what we're looking at. So this is your PSA paper, or aluminum oxide paper. I should provide a link for this, but I got it on Amazon, but it came from Taylor Toolworks. And what's really good about this, excuse me, getting cold out here. So what's really good about this is it doesn't even measure it in grits. It measures it in microns. So you get this set, it's about $15, which is a pretty good deal. And you get one of each micron or grit setting, whatever you want to call it. And they come in different colors, and they identify them as colors, but they do break down a sheet in here with grit. So the one that I got is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sheets. So the dark blue is 300 grit, green is 600, and then yellow is 1200. So this right here will be my break-in sheets for new chisels, new planes, new plane blades, and then we'll get that good rough cut bevel on the starting bevel. And then these, the light blue 1800 grit, pink 3 microns, which is 8000 grit, light green 1 micron at 14,000 grit, and this one is just ridiculous at 0.3 microns at 60,000 grit. So man, I guess we'll be able to see myself in the chisels and the planer blades. So, and we'll probably use that. Now, the only thing you need to use with this stuff is water. And each one of these sheets, if you're constantly, let's say you're religiously using a sharpening system, you're gonna probably get 6 to 8 months out of these. So they last, they don't gather any material, and they rinse off really easy with water, and then you just let them dry. But that PSA, that adhesive on the back, is going to be great because then it just sticks to this stuff. But on this, like I said, the rough ones I'm going to use, or to cut in, rough cut, I'll probably use those, and then we'll set those aside. But like I was saying, the other stuff, you know, it sharpens good, and it sets up nice. You just got to pay attention. It gets gummy sometimes if you're not careful, but then you start getting the tear out. And, you know, you can't really go two directions with this stuff because it just ends up, you know, tearing up. So pulling it even one way, you still get this stuff, and it gets weak after a while. So I think we're done with this. We'll keep it as a backup. I learned a lot with that stuff. So let's move this to the side, and then we'll put these ones up there. And then I'll show you what I'm getting into when I was talking about solid surface. So let's put this away. Glasses nice and clean. All right, so let's move this out of the way. Oh, also, this is your drawer liner grip stuff. When you put it in drawers, we like to use, or I like to use this stuff a lot under my glass because it does grip really well, especially when you put pressure on it. So, and it's like $1 a roll. So, buy a couple rolls of that and invest in some good traction. All right, so this is what I was talking about. Let's see if we can see that. There we go. This is solid surface, and these are the countertops. This one has a adhesive peel on it, so you can take that off, and then it's like just like butter on the, I mean, just like granite, and it's flat. I've checked it with the square, and it is extremely flat, like glass. So, and it's very durable, extremely durable. This is the new stuff that everybody's using for countertops. And then I went to the home center and I got the samples of the same stuff, and I'm going to make gauges for these. So I'll have my bevels, and then I can come from this side and then get the distance and then set my degrees that I'm going to use on my sharpening jig. And then we'll do that. So what I'll do with this, the solid surface is applied with epoxy. And once it's connected, it's there for life. So, and then what I am going to do is sand. You can sand it just like wood. You can router it just like wood. And then to buff the tops, which I did on this one already, just to clean it up and get it so perfect. As a matter of fact, it's so flat that that's already stuck, like metal surfaces that have been machined. So that is pretty impressive. So let's see if we can move that over a little bit and you can see. All right. So then we'll put these for my micro bevels, and then that'll be to touch up. I don't think I'll adhere this one. I may attach it to some glass or another piece of this. I think I have some more. So, and then just keep it on the side if I really want to get things shiny, but this is probably not necessary, but sure nice. So this will be the setup. And then the other nice thing about this solid surface, completely waterproof. The wood, you know, will soak up stuff. Glass doesn't do it, but usually they put the glass on the wood surfaces and stuff like that. So, and then with, it's so heavy, it's like stone. I don't think this stuff will move. I'll probably still use some of the grip stuff underneath it, but just so it doesn't move at all. But we'll be going this way constantly, so you know, running our planes backwards only, not forwards. And then we'll go from there. So that'll be the setup. And like I said, we'll test this out. We'll test this product out together. I haven't seen this on YouTube at all. I'm sure somebody's probably already thought of it. Once you do think of it, it's already, you know, you're already too far behind. So, but this will give everyone an idea of how and how well it works and how easy it is to work with. So before we adhere these to the surface, or the other mating surface, we will bevel these edges. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. You can just take your palm sander, and I believe this is 120 grit, and you can just go like this. So that's pretty quick and easy. One thing I forgot to mention is that this surface takes a special buffing pad, and it's like a lapping pad. It's a little bigger. This, I believe this belongs to a Festool tool. But there's two different grits, the blue and the green, and there's other grits for rough cutting and doing other stuff too. And then you can use a lapping compound or a buffing compound for automobile wax, and then buff it from there. But this gets it so perfectly smooth and beautiful. I don't think I'd need it anymore, but you have that option to get it to look like granite. So, all right. So, and then let me show you another option. All right. So, sorry if I'm speaking so loud. I got my ear protection on. Let me take it off for a second. So here's another way. You can put a round nose in there on your router, and then run it through that way, and easy peasy. Let's see how that works. Oh yeah, I like this way a lot better. Let's put that hearing protection down. Yeah, this is a lot better. So that made a really nice bevel on there, and super smooth. Don't even have to sand it. So this stuff's incredible. All right, let's get the rest. So one thing I did notice, the chamfer came out really nice, and but I did notice these sheets are a little bigger. So what we'll end up doing is we'll adhere them to these first before we glue them down, and then we'll trim the edges, and then we'll epoxy these down, and then I got a couple of nice MDF boards that I'll put over the top. So I'm gonna go with the white. Why not? I mean, let's make our stuff look like mirrors, I guess. And then it's only gonna get a better cut, so not a big deal. So now remember though, this will be my touch-up jig for you know, putting the small bevel, which would be the 25 degree or the 30 degree bevel, micro bevel. So, and then the other ones we'll do in glass to rough cut the other ones in. So what I did, I just put this out. I made each one 3/4 of an inch from the side, 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. We'll draw a line to reference that on either side, and then on the top. So we got a nice reference to go with. That's another nice thing, is this you can draw on this stuff pretty easy. And then we'll keep it there. We'll mix the epoxy, glue it down after we adhere these to this, and I'll show you that next step. All right, so this stuff, oh, there goes my shop heater. I hope you guys can hear me. So this stuff, make sure your surface is wiped perfectly clean. It's going to be just like putting on a protective coating or a protective film on your phone. So you just don't want any dust bubbles or anything that'll form underneath there. So use your knife or whatever you have to start this adhesive coming off, so you can grab that. There we go. Put that down. And then get this off. Comes off super easy. And then just use a little water. Just a little bit. And then we'll lower this down. Oops, got a little bit. There we go. Put this on. Line it up. What's cool about the water is if you mess up, you can realign it. Really simple. And just get that in there. Yeah, it's not as good as I wanted. There it is. Alright, so let's get this a little better down here. Super easy, super easy. There we go. That's better. Alright. Now that that was the hassle, and then just use a piece of plastic, or if you got a squeegee or something that's really nice, and then get all these bubbles, and you can see them really well until they go away. And then you can see the surface of what you're adhering to, which is super nice. And don't worry, you're not contaminating this sandpaper with the plastic or whatever you decide to use. Probably shouldn't use wood. I guess that wouldn't be a prime example. So, get that till it's no air bubbles. See how it overlapped a little bit because it's a little bigger than the rest of the mounting surface. Get all the water out of there. Got no bubbles. And we'll let that dry. And we'll do the next one. Easy stuff. Alright, so this dried really nice. I trimmed it up. When you trim it up, make sure you have a good sharp razor. And just go from this side, or which side you ever need to, you know, against the grain. There's really no bad way, just don't cut to yourself. And then it just trims right up really nice and it adheres perfect. So, but I found a flaw. I ended up using a little bit of a different piece of plastic, but I didn't take the time to clean it off a little bit. So if you see that right there, I scratched it. So we'll see how, this is the 80,000 or 60,000 grit, so 0.3 microns. So it shouldn't make that much of a deal, a difference. Hopefully nothing will get underneath there and peel because we spray these with water. But lesson learned. And before you guys use this stuff, make sure the plastic piece that you're using doesn't have any small, I don't know, pieces of grit or anything on it, or a sharp edge, because it scratches pretty easy. So bubbles came out really nice. So what we're going to do, we're going to mix up some epoxy. This came with a little tray. And then we're just going to use a little bit. The solid surface countertops is basically put together with epoxy, so the adhesion is incredible. So you don't need much. So, and it's not going to warp it because we're not going to have, so I'll probably put 3 dots on the back side of each one and then center it up. I got positioning marks there, or reference marks for that, and then I'll square it up really nice, and then I won't, I'll do that off camera, and then I'll show you a little trick how we label these things. Alright, so now we're going to set up our jig, and then we'll make our stop blocks for references by the distance that the chisel or the plane blades sticks out of our jig. So, a couple of things. Hopefully you guys can see this. I got the macro on. On the side of your sharpening jig, it'll say the distances that this is supposed to be sticking out, so as per whatever you're sharpening. So chisel projection, geez, I can't even talk tonight. It's got this one labeled at 30 millimeters equals 30 degrees, and 40 millimeters equals 25 degrees. So the 25 is your primary bevel, and the 30 degrees is your secondary bevel. So you can measure and convert. So that's roughly about 1 3/16 and 1.5 inches for 30 and 25 degrees. So you can do it that way. And then on the plane iron projection, I said that one right, since it's bigger and longer, usually that one it'll say 38 millimeters equals 30 degrees, which is your secondary bevel, and 50 millimeters equals 25 degrees, which is your primary bevel. So these things are great because they give you the reference right there, and then you can use that for your, and you don't have to make a guide or a stop block reference or whatever you want to call it. So you can put it in there and measure it each time, but it's just quicker reference if you get something. Let me back up a little bit. If you get something, quick reference, so you can set up and start sharpening right away. We're probably not all getting paid for this, so I'm not a firm believer in doing things fast. I like to do things right, so if you have to take your time, take your time. If you have to measure 3 or 4 times, measure 3 or 4 times. So another thing, when you take apart your plane blade, you got your screw right here, or your bolt right here that holds the chip breaker and then the plane blade together. One thing I gotta emphasize on all of this stuff is always use the right size screwdriver to take that apart. This screwdriver I have here is probably 40 years old. It's been used to stir paint. It's dull. So find that one that fits that, and then use this as a designated tool taker aparter. So that way you have something. What happens is these old planes, that metal is not as strong as some of the other stuff that's available right now. So let me see if I can take that apart. So when you do that, it's just really nice. No slip, no twist. Everything fits in there super nice. So, and then you take it apart. I mean, these things are 40, 50, 60 years old, so, or more. So this metal gets soft, and it's probably been apart who knows how many times. So, and every time you do it, you probably take a little piece of metal or bend it. So very, very important. So use a good screwdriver, and then keep that as a designated screwdriver. And then when you take these apart, do it the right way, and slide them down and bring it across. There you go. Okay, so this is the plane blade. So I got another piece of solid surface right here, and what we'll do is we'll put this one in our jig and get that all mounted up. And right now all we're going to do, oops, it's upside down. Right now all we're going to do is get it finger tight so we can move it around. Now there's a couple ways you can find the distance on here. Like I said, you can use the reference on here and measure it, and let's say this is a ruler, and you can measure that way. That's sticking out that way. You can also lay this down flat on something solid, and if it's perfect on there, and that edge is flat on that solid surface, that's a good reference. The one I like to do is, since we're going for a 25-degree bevel, is you can use a couple of different ones. I have a manual one that, let's see if we can back up a little bit. I have a manual, I guess that's as far as it goes, angle finder, and I use this on my table saw blade quite a bit, which works really well, and it's pretty sensitive, so, and it's magnetic. And then I have a digital, and that'll just slide right on there. So what you do, you get it to 0. Let's do this. There you go. There you go. Then slowly bring it up, stick it to your plane, your blade, and then adjust this, because we didn't tighten it, until it's at 25 degrees. Bring it down, get it close. I mean, you can get this spot on too. Oh, and a little farther. 25.1, that's pretty good. I'm not gonna. And then just tighten it up. And then watch that gauge, make sure it stays there. Oh, there we go, perfect. Now it's good and tight. Take this off, and you're good to go. So it doesn't get much more accurate than that. So then we'll take this over and use this length as a reference for the gauge, and then we'll glue that in place on that other piece of solid surface that we use to put the sharpening strips. And then we have a quick reference, and we'll have one for the planes, or two for the planes and two for the chisels. And it's the same thing with the chisels. You know, you put that in there, get that set. You can get it as flat as you can. Put this on there, bam, you're good to go. And let's see how close we can get. There's 24, 20. Yeah, even but moving it by hand, you can get super close. So, and these are great. These are about 15 bucks, so it's a good investment. Keeps those angles true, and then you get that good sharpen on there. So, or that good bevel. So this is what I'll do. I'll get these set up. I'll go over and set those on the solid surface that I have the sharpening strips on, and I'll adhere those to there, and I'll show you how we label them. All right. Well, that came out a lot better than I thought it would. So there's those pieces, the sample pieces I was telling you about. You just get them from Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever. Home Center store. And then what I did is measured everything out, and now I just have a quick reference for 30 degrees on the plane. And then, you know, same with the chisel, same 25, 30, same. So you just a quick adjustment. And then what I did here is I labeled them up on the top. You know, they're upside down, but I'll flip this over, and then I'll have the H2O ready. Now, I'll only use water, and then the other ones for the roughing or the break-in on a new plane or one that's been pretty bad shape, I just use these glass ones, and then I'll store these in a different spot because I probably won't use these as much as these. So, but there you have it. Worked out really nice. Be able to sharpen everything quickly and efficiently, and we'll make another video on maybe a sharpening video, or who knows, we'll see what else we can do, because I really want to test all these papers. I haven't tested any of them yet, so that'll be another good idea to promote these if they're good, and then also tell everybody that hey, don't waste your money. So, well, it's getting late. It's raining like you can't believe outside right now. That's Whidbey Island for you. So appreciate you everybody watching this video, and stand by for more. Like and subscribe.